tangling along with me. We are going to do a tile today. This is a 5 tile and I used it for a watercolor tryout years ago, and it has just been lying around because I didn't want to throw it out and I didn't really felt inspired by it. But today we are going to do something on this tile. So you don't actually need the color behind it here, but you can also just do a tiny bit of a watercolor splash if you want to. This one has a tiny bit of glitter in there. I don't know if the camera picks it up. And that's fine. So let's start with making a string line, because I'm not sure I want to make a border today. I'm not actually really sure what to do. Okay, let's do the border. So I'm going to start with the dots in each of the corners, and then we are going to make the lines connecting these dots. And the lines don't need to be straight. They can have different shapes as well if you want to, but I'm gonna do mine fairly straight today. So I'm gonna start with a border because I like to do this pattern here first. So I am going to actually make some kind of a place for that border. I think I'm gonna place it right here. And I think I'm gonna end my line work there, or my string work, and then I'm just gonna jump right into it. So first of all, I am going to use my black micron 01 for this one. And I think I'm gonna start around the middle of this border. I think that's perfect. So I'm gonna make my 3 circles right here. Just like that. And then I'm gonna make that curved line, and I'm gonna mirror it over here like that. And then I'm gonna make another 3 orbs. And if I had room to it, I would make another curved line going that way, so they're kind of mirrored all the time. So I'm gonna have my orbs right here. And again, I would mirror that one, so it would go like that over here, like this. And now I'm going to go in with all of these pieces, and I'm kind of making a little V-shape hat on these lines, and I'm gonna do that on all of them, even if I have more of them. And then I am going to make kind of a zigzag and then going straight down. Doing the same here, a zigzag and going straight down. And I'm gonna do the same over here, a zigzag and going straight down. And then you can do a few small hatching lines here if you want to. Like that. And we're going to make an aura around this shape here. On one side and on the other side. Like that. And then I am going to make my straight line here. And I'm gonna do it on the other side as well. Oh, I got stuck in the fabric here. There we go. And I'm gonna cap these off, and I'm gonna color in this room here in between. And I'm gonna take my time with this. Actually, I think I'm gonna go find me a thicker micron to do that with. So I just found me a micron 10, because this will go a little faster, so you don't have to sit here all day watching me coloring in. But I'm still taking it one stroke at a time, and I'm still relaxing in my hands and my wrists. Remembering to breathe. Oops. And just enjoying each of my strokes. And of course the other side here. This is going to make this pattern a little more bold than it already was. That's because, sorry, it's still not. But I'm going to make it a little more bold in a second. There we go. And what I was talking about was that you can go in these orbs and you can make them kind of black, but give them a little sparkle by leaving out a little orb in the orb that has no color. So I kind of used to make my little sparkle orb first, and then I go around the rest of my orb, coloring that in. And now you can see it is kind of a bold pattern if you do this. And I'm gonna do that on all these orbs we have. And you could go in just coloring them black and then use a jelly roll, a white jelly roll, to make that little sparkle instead of doing it like this. But I like it like that because we can see the color beneath. So that was this pattern. Let's see, I want another pattern in here. I think it should be this one. I really like that pattern. It is one of my favorite. So I'm back to my micron 01 now. And I think I'm gonna do this pattern maybe over here somehow. So I'm gonna do this squiggly line, and I'm gonna end in a little orb here. And I think I'm gonna make another little squiggly line here, and maybe one here. And then I'm gonna make my flowers on this line. And then we're gonna make the leaves, and I'm gonna I'm always kind of starting around the middle with these leaves because I think it's easier. And I'm doing mine a tiny bit different than the step outs. Because in the step outs these are all the same height, but I like to give them a little more definition, so I make the middle one of these arches a little taller than the other ones. That's one. Let's do one over here. Make the little aura, and then we're gonna do, that's actually not leaves, it's more like petals. Yeah, I don't think I can have them here. Maybe. I actually think that went pretty good. And then the two lines here just to give the leaves or the petals a little more interest. Let's make the last one right here. The aura. And now the petals. And you can of course make them just like the originals if you like that better. Do it your way. I'm just showing you one way to do this. There is no right or wrong in Zentangle, and that is why we love it. I actually think I'm gonna make a few of these I know that's not a part of this pattern, but I actually think it's pretty neat. Fescues, that's the name of it. We will come to that pattern one day, but right now it is the henna drum we are doing right here. So this one. Now let's see, we want some more on this side here, and I'm really not sure which one I like to do. So give me a second and I will find out.
Subscribe, like, and ring the bell button.
Okay, I was thinking of making this one, but then I need another border. So I'm using my graphite here to make another border. I'm thinking of just going kind of down like this, having my border right there. And then I'm gonna do the pattern in here, this one. So let me just take my micron 01 and I'm gonna make this line a double line. I could have just made that little room here, this little border with my micron, but I like to make my string lines with my pencil first so that I know it is where I want it. Then I am going to make this little curved line. I'm gonna turn my tile a tiny bit and I'm gonna make another curved line, the same kind of curve. Turn it, make the curved line, turn it, make my curved line, and so on. Like that. And then we're going to make that little crescent moon shape here, or a half circle, ladybug, in that little end here. And I'm gonna do that in all of these in this direction to start with. There we go. Then I'm going to aura that one. So aura that shape. There we go. And I'm going in here and I'm making kind of two lines that is going up, but not all the way to that top line. And I'm gonna do that in all three of these. And this one is kind of going a little out of the line, so yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do here. And then I am going to go in here with kind of a squiggly line, and I am going to aura this squiggly line. Let's see if I can do it from here. I think that went pretty well. Actually, I think that line should have been, if you ask me, the line could go all the way out, and then you can make this squiggly line anyway over the lines, because that's kind of what's going on here. You want that line to go through that squiggly line. So I'm gonna start my squiggly line here and then end off. And then you want to color in this piece all black, and I'm gonna do it in this corner first. And then I'm going to take my micron 10 just to color in a little quicker. So this end piece here. And this one. There we go. Then I'm gonna cap this one, and I'm gonna do the exact same thing here on the other side. So I'm gonna make my little ladybug, crescent moon, or half circle thingy in all of these. I can't see that in this one, so I'm gonna leave that. Then I'm gonna do the aura, and then I'm actually gonna do the two lines, and I'm gonna take them straight through into the end here, and I'm gonna do that on both sides. No, on all of these, not both sides. Let's see, it would be coming like that, and here, and this little corner would actually be colored in black. Then I'm gonna make my squiggly lines, and I'm gonna aura that little squiggly line, and I'm gonna do that here, and aura, and the last one I'm gonna do it with at the end here. Again, my little squiggly line. And then I'm gonna take my black micron 10 to color this in. Also, because I have a feeling that when you have put watercolor on this paper, it is acting a bit different to draw on. So coloring in is easier with a thicker micron. If you don't have a micron 10, you could use a 5 or 8 or whatever, or you could take the time with your micron 1 and then just coloring it in. Just pause the video and then take your time, one stroke at a time, and color in these black spots here. It really looks so neat. I know this is not a part of this tangle, but I think I'm gonna go in with kind of these two decorative lines here in these rooms we have here, because I think it actually looks pretty neat. And I did make this one a tiny bit big, so I like to have a little more line work here. I actually think that turned out pretty neat. So that was this pattern here. Now we need another one. So I think I'm gonna do this one here on the tile. I'm thinking of popping it in right here. And I'm not really good with that grid way they are making it, so I'm kind of making a start grid here, I'm thinking, or just the lines for my grid, and then maybe I'm gonna make a line like that. Okay, I'm not sure this is gonna work, but I'm gonna take my micron 01 and I'm gonna draw up these first lines, not the second ones, only the first ones. And I'm using my borderline here for my last. And then I need to make these, what you call that? Actually, I need a line more down here, like that. So I'm gonna make my first line from the corner to that point, then going to the next, and so on with that my line here. So I get this really steep line, and then I am going to find one of these, and I'm starting here and going up. So I need to do one going this way where this one is crossing. So it's gonna go like this, and so on. So from here on up, through that grid that I made. And that means I need some lines here. And one up here. I don't know if you understand what I'm doing here, but I hope you do. Otherwise you can still always go find the original step out guide. That might be a help for you. But I think my grid actually turned out pretty neat here. I'm thinking of just taking my eraser and go lightly over my line works with this one. You could also just make kind of triangulars in between each line and then match them up the other way in the next, and so on. That would work as well. Now I'm gonna go in and find the triangular shape. I'm gonna pop in a dot in the middle, and from that dot I'm making a line from the dot and out to the corner in each of these triangular shapes. And I'm gonna do it in all of these triangular spaces, so this one as well. A dot in the middle of the triangular, and then a line from the corner to the dot, or from the dot to the corner, giving you this geometric pattern here. So again, a dot in the middle and going with a line from the corner to the dot, or from the dot to the corner, it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna do that everywhere. And some of these triangular shape, you have to guess where the center of the triangle is. And it's all fine, so no worries if it's a little crooked, doesn't really matter. Next one. Oh, that would be around here. And that would come around in the center there. Dot in the center. And then going from the dot to the corners or the other way around. Just take your time with this. Remember to relax in your hands and your fingers. Loosen your grip a little so you don't choke your pen. And just enjoy tangling with me. There we go. All the way through. So that is the pattern. You can do a little circle around the center here if you want to, a circle or an orb, coloring that in, making that a little more neat if some of your lines does not meet up. Then this little orb here in the center can hide a little mistake or two. Again, this is not necessary, but it makes it a little neat. So that was that pattern. It was this one. I actually really like that one. We need another one out here, so let me just take a look for some. So, future me speaking here. For some reason I lost a lot of footage for this tile, and I don't really want to do it over because it won't be as this one, and I really like the result of this one. So I drawed this one, and for some reason it did not show at all how I made this, so I am going to show you right here on this little bijou. So to make this pattern, the one you will see here, you are starting with my not mine, it's not my pattern, you're starting with this mountain shape with the 3 mountaintops on here. And you put a space in between each of these mountains. And then you connect the mountain with a little bridge. And you do it all the way down here if you are working on that tile that we are just working on now. So the bridge, and all this is going to be colored in black. I'm not going to do that here. So I'm starting with taking off from this point and landing on this point, and again making those 3 mountains. 1, 2, 3. Then starting from this point and ending here, 1 more. And so on. And I also have one coming in here. And then you're going to make the bridge again. and then you just continue like that. So I'm starting from one dip and ending on the other one, taking off here and landing here, taking off here and landing here, and so on. And then the bridge, like that. And I only did 3 rows on this drawing here. And then I actually decided to do something putting a little more interest in there with a few of these double lines here underneath this middle bridge, just to give it a little more interest. And of course, I'm coloring in these pieces here in between, and you can use the micron 10 for this, so it doesn't take all day to color in these pieces. And remember just to take your time and enjoy each of your strokes, one stroke at a time. And I'm gonna skip the rest here. Actually, I'm gonna go get my 10 instead. So I have my micron 10 here. So I'm just gonna do it so you can see and follow along. So I'm going to color in all of these parts here. That we have under the bridge between our cute mountains. And I'm just taking my time with this. There we go, and then you can always go in with your O1 and correct a few mistakes if you have those, because the bigger tip can be a little tricky to get into those fine details. So you can always use your O1 to correct it a tiny bit if you want to. And then I am going to take my watercolor pencils. I have these one from Kimberly, and these are the teal color, the Prussian blue, and the light blue from General's Kimberly, and it's the watercolor pencils. And you can use these ones in different ways, so or at least in 2 ways, I know. So I'm going to take my water here. I'm actually gonna put that down. I think I used this Prussian blue for these ones, and I am going to go in here and pop in just like if I was shading it with my pencil. So I'm just going to place some of the color here around my lines. And you can put more on or you can put less on there, depending on how much color you like and how colorful your background is. Then I'm going to dip my pencil in my water, and I'm just going to use the tip of it to spread out that color. So I'm just going to do that. And I'm gonna do it everywhere where I have this color lying around. Kind of trying to ease it a little out so that it's not so bold when it is stopping, but bold here around that little line we are working on. Got a little much water here. There we go. So that's one way of using these. You can also go in here and just with your water brush pick up some of the color and then go in with it. And it will be a lot darker. I actually got too much water here, so it's messing a little with my micron. So you can get a really bold coloring put in here if you want that. You can also mix the colors, so taking a little from another one and then pop that in as well. And even if the color is drying out a tiny bit, you can go in with your water and then kind of soften it out anyway. So if you have a harsh line that you don't like, you can always go back and give it a little more water. Just like that. And I did this on all my tile. Let me take the tile back here. So I went in and I used the teal here on these going this way up, all of them. I used the light blue on the ones going this way. I used the light blue here, and I think it was the teal I used around here, or it was the light blue, I don't actually really remember. And I think that's where I left off without filming it for some reason, so we missed this pattern. You need to let your tile dry for at least half an hour before we continue, so that you don't make your shadings and extra lines. You can see the small lines here, we are coming to that. So you don't do that on top of a wet tile, so leave it to dry for at least half an hour now. Oh, and I also wanted to tell you that if you use a trick where you are using the water on the tip of the pencil, you don't want to use the pencil on the paper before that has dried out again, because it will make the tip a little more soft and it could crack on you. So let that dry completely before you use it as a pencil again if you do that trick. So it has been around an hour actually, and I am ready to give this little one some shading, and I'm gonna use my trick with a piece of paper next to me. It doesn't have to be a bijou, but that was what I had then at that point, so I am using that, and I'm just putting on a lot of graphite here on my little bijou. Then I can put my graphite away and I can take my Tortillion and I can just go over this and pick up some of the graphite and then go in and make my shading with that. It is a little lighter than if you put it on directly with your pencil, but on water paper or on paper where you have watercolors on, that was what I wanted to say, that could actually ruin the paper a little more than you want to. So doing it like this is actually a good idea, and it works, as you can see, very nicely. And if you want it darker, you can always go in with a little more of your graphite here from that piece of paper and doing it a little darker. I don't think I'm gonna do much here because I made a lot of shading with my watercoloring pencil, but I want these two ribbons here to kind of lift up from that background here. And if you find you don't have enough graphite on here, then just place a tiny bit more on your paper and you can continue. Making your shadings here. And I'm gonna do it here on this one as well. And even though that this is fairly dark with the blue, you can still see kind of a little different here with putting on the graphite next to this ribbon here. Turn my tile again and then do it here on the inside. I want a little more graphite here. And then make it a bit darker here. Like that. Actually, I think I really want it. So I'm just gonna be really careful with my graphite here so I don't rip my paper. Placing a tiny bit more here along this line. I kind of like that. And then I had an eraser because I got a little too much over this border line here. So I'm just gonna see if I can get a tiny bit of that off again. I think that went pretty good. So I am going in with my white charcoal now. I'm really not sure what to do, but I always like to make this center a little lighter, and it can be hard to see with that, with all these colors that it's on there. I don't know if you can see that. And I'm gonna do the same here, and I'm just gonna use my pencil. No Tortillion for this. I'm just gonna put it on there and then softly with a finger. I don't really want to do much more on this one. I think it came out nice. I could put in some more details if I wanted to. This is my micron 01. You can always go forth and back. So I am just going to take some light lines here. That gives this little pattern something else to look like, or a little more interest with these small lines here. I think I'm gonna do it everywhere where I have these triangular shapes that goes in this direction here. And it's fine if they're a little wiggly or if there are small gaps in the line. It doesn't really matter. It still gives this tangle a little different look. So I'm just taking my time with this. Going up here, so I do it everywhere. There you go. I actually think that looks pretty neat. So that is our tangle, and I am going to sign this one. Popping in my little chop here, and it's 2026. So that's my tangle. I hope you like this one. I know there is not much to this one, but I actually think it's pretty neat. Just like that. And you could use that as a card or as a bookmark, or just give it away and put it in a frame or something. But that's it for today. I hope you liked this little tangle here. I had a lot of fun with it, so I will see you in around a week, where we are going to continue in our book and make another page with another set of tangles. So anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Have an attitude of gratitude.